What is up, guys? How we doing? Welcome to the very first blaster video on Objectively Typed. I'm super excited about this. I love the Facebook group, but as I spoke about in my interview with V, the discoverability just isn't there. So I'm really excited about sort of digging into all these different parts. And talking about all of, because not just the parts themselves, right? What I really want to talk about is sort of the coin aspect of objective personality, and also the void aspect of objective personality, because I think that is just as important, and especially as objective personality develops, and we start to find more layers and dig as deeper and deeper. I think that this void component is something that I'm really excited to dig into and just explore to the fullest. Let me just share this guy real quick on the Facebook group. And then we will get into this. As those of you, watching at home may figure out, this is a live video. I do not know what I'm going to be saying until I say it, and I sort of rely on the audience to throw out comments, questions, ideas. Let me know what you think as we are sort of digging into this. If you have a question, it'll pop up, and I'll be able to answer it on the fly. It's going to be super fun. Let's get into it. Okay, so why am I starting with DI? I think the biggest reason I wanted to start with DI is just because, look, we all have everything, but like DI is like the core of the human experience, man. It is. I don't know what to tell you. It's the kind of thing that at the end of the day, you can be missing sensing or intuition, and like there are ways to have other people fill in those voids for you, right? If you're like, I'm not really a sensory guy, I'm more of a big picture abstract person, you can kind of get along for a while without that, right? Like you can leave that void. We have all worked for somebody or a teacher or whatever who is just like way the fuck out there. And they're like, I lose papers. I had a teacher once. This is not, I don't know that he was Savior Intuitive, but this is something that Savior Intuitive would totally do. He just lost our tests. Like he just lost them. He's like, I don't know where they went. Didn't even care. Yeah, I'm really sorry, guys. I genuinely have no idea where a stack of 72 tests went, just fucking vanished to, right? But if you miss that, it's like you can have, like, in his case, he's like, I'm just going to give you all like 90s. I remember you guys did really well. We're just going to kind of fudge it and it's fine, right? Or on the other hand, look, if you're missing intuition, it's going to create voids in the world and in your life, but I don't know. I feel like it's not this catastrophic thing that other people can't fill in for you, right? So if you're like lead SI and you're like, I'm not a creative person. I don't think outside the box. I see what's right in front of me. Yeah, it's going to cause problems in your life, but look, living moment to moment, I don't know. It's not the worst way to live, right? I'm saying all of this because when you're missing your DI, right, your internal sense of self, whether it's your reasons for doing something or what you like, what you value, what motivates you, right? Like that sort of stuff, nobody can fill in that void for you. That cannot ever happen, right? And one thing that I've noticed in in the wellness space in particular. So I listen to a lot of wellness podcasts. I live in Los Angeles, and we're super hippy dippy, right? It's just what we do. But one of the things about these wellness podcasts is it's the same story every time, and it's fascinating to me how you can track. It's these people, all of them, like they worked a corporate job and they were really good at it. They worked in like marketing and PR and advertising, right? These very DE, particularly feminine DE centric fields. And in a corporate world, and they were kicking ass, they were doing the things, and then they sort of had their Saturn return, if you want to call it that, like at 29, when they're like, and then I realized I was burning myself out. I had no idea who I was. I had no identity. I hated what I was doing. And then it goes in a couple of different directions. Usually it's like, yeah, and then I went to Bali for 6 months and then found myself and then opened a yoga studio or whatever their journey is, right? So I'm just trying to get the angling and the light right so I'm centered. Okay. And it's fascinating to sort of listen to this story over and over and over again, because it is a like clockwork predictable DI tidal wave. It's just wild to me how frequent this is. But it really got me thinking about, like, why is this pattern so common, right? Why is it that the DI people, I'm not saying that those of us with demon DI, and I have demon DI, have our freak out sooner in life or later in life, whatever. But it is the kind of thing that if you have a demon DI, right, you're going to notice it. Like, that's really going to catch up to you fairly early in life, I have found. If you have savior DI, it does not mean your life is easier. You're going to have a whole different set of problems. But they're the kind of problems that, like, other people can help, right? When it comes to, like, tribe connection, right? That's a thing that quite literally the tribe can help you with, right? But when it's DI, like, that's just on you. You got to just dig in and figure out for yourself what you like and think and value, or however it manifests in you. And it is not the kind of thing, again, you can find outside sources, whether it's you're going to go and consume some more things and try new things for your identity, right? Or if you're going to really focus on the sleep processing part of that, of like, okay, well, hang on, I don't need more new shit. I just need to, like, be inside my own psyche and my own soul. I just, like, home in on, like, who am I on the inside, right? That's more of a sleep processing as opposed to the, I'm in a rut. Like, who am I? Like, what new, like, I've changed, but the outside world doesn't reflect that. Let me consume some more things and, like, find some new shit to love, right? That's more of the consume side of what a demon DI person might work on. But regardless, it's something that if you have demon DI, the visceral impulse, the wiring, whatever you want to call it, right? The default way of going through life is that, my identity matters less than my connection to other people. And when you start to feel that twinge of, like, well, who am I? Like, what's really going on here with me? You start to see that, like, you have to fill in those cracks yourself. Now, the impulse, again, is, I'm feeling a little insecure. Let me go bang on the heads of everyone around me to validate me, instead of just sitting with this feeling, working on it, feeling the feels, doing whatever, or working out in my own head, like, what I really think and sort of layering that identity and getting it really robust and really deep. That's DI work. So if you have that as a demon, that's going to be really, really hard for you. So, you know, to those of you, if you do struggle with that, and I would say that by struggle with that, it does not even necessarily mean that you have savior, you know, the double activated or single activated demon, right? I'm not saying it's like, yes, obviously EJs are going to have this biggest problem. That is what I'm saying, right? EJs are going to have this problem like crazy, but you know, anybody can have these problems, especially if it's just single activated. Even if it's like a single activated savior, you're going to have some issues with it. Our buddy Dave Superpowers, I think he's a fantastic example of somebody who kind of has some identity issues. He's a really interesting case because, so he's not a glass lizard quite, because his first function is his NI, and that is double activated. He's sleep then blast, but he's missing consume, so that savior FI is only getting one activation, right? So because he's, you know, his fourth animal is consume, that's gonna cause some issues for him, right? He's gonna have to do some me work, as it were. You see this also a lot with the IPs missing sleep. So these are the consume, play, blast, missing sleep IPs, right? The super cranked up, doubling up on their play, yibby skibby. They're just all over the place. They are the ones who are also going to have some sleep issues. This is not an official typing because this character is fictional, but I think it's such an important example of how you can be savior FI and still have DI issues. And that's my buddy Po, the Kung Fu Panda. So I fucking love Kung Fu Panda. It's like one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just nothing but hero's journey. The second one also in particular is really, really poignant in a lot of ways. But just to talk about the first one, because it's a kid's movie. It's real straightforward. It's real fucking simple. There's not a lot, right? Po, to me, is very much an IP. He is real clear on what he loves. There is no ambiguity there. He's like, I love Kung Fu. I don't care about the noodle dream. I love Kung Fu, right? And he's like, I'm going to abandon my father and like forsake my legacy and my destiny as being a noodle chef to go do Kung Fu with these Kung Fu master people, right? But the whole thing is about his missing sleep. It's fascinating. He's like, yeah, I know what I like, but it's so immature. It's only got one activation. He is way more concerned with the tribe validation. All right, does Shifu like me? Does Mantis like me? Does Snake like me? Tigress, she does not like me at all, right? And he's very much about the people. He mixes it up with the people. He's got a ton of play energy, like play energy for days. And his big problem in life, a lot of it is like narrowing it down and like, okay, well, let me have like a more mature understanding of myself and what my identity really does mean. Yes, in relation to others, for sure, but just like me as a person. I'm not going to spoil it, but when they're talking about secret ingredient soup, they touch on a lot of these DI kinds of issues of like what makes the secret ingredient soup special. It's really poignant. It's really beautiful. I highly recommend it. Especially if you are, again, like, and for somebody like me, so I have Demon DI. It is single activated. I am blast, play, consume, sleep. And And it's sort of why, so you might be wondering, like, why is this douchebag wearing a tank top? So I wore the tank top for the DI video in particular because I like tank tops. And I realize that that's like a weird thing to like, but let me break it down. So I come from Albuquerque, New Mexico. It gets very warm in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But tank tops in Albuquerque, this is again, when I was growing up, like there was no Lululemon. It was like the white tank top, right? Like the sort of trashy tank, like that's just what tank tops were. There was not like a cool hip way to wear tank tops. And that was me all growing up, but like whatever. So I was like, I don't wear fucking tank tops. I'm not that guy. I'm not tank top guy. And then I go to Chicago and it gets real cold in Chicago. I'm not wearing tank tops in Chicago, of course. What idiot would wear tank tops in Chicago? Right? There's like 3 months out of the year that it's nice, period. And like, but also like, I'm not that guy. I'm not a tank top guy. That's ridiculous. And then living in New York, which is like even worse than Chicago, it's not as cold, but it's still very, very cold. And tank tops they're very casual. They're very loose. They're real billowy. And like, I'm not going to be tank top guy in New York. Like, I'm not a douchebag. I'm not tank top guy. I'm not that guy. I fucking moved to LA, man. I don't know what to tell you, but I moved to LA. And like, I got a tank top for the first time. I was walking around. I was like, it's really hot. And I moved here in like August, so it was really hot. But I just remember walking around and being like, God damn, I'm tank top guy. Like, I just am tank top guy. And it was such a weird thing for somebody like me with Demon DI to accept, because the whole reason that I wasn't tank top guy is purely for tribe validation reasons. I was like, I don't trust my tank top guy energy enough to be able to just wear a tank top if I want to, because everybody else is just going to be judging me and like looking at me and like, there goes fucking tank top guy. Pff, okay. Yeah. Well, go back to Cali, tank top guy. Well, guess what, motherfucker? I'm in California now. And now I can wear tank tops. But then obviously, like once I stopped caring, now that I didn't stop caring about the outside world's approval and validation, it just became, yeah, you live in California, people wear tank tops here. It's not weird. Like you wearing a tank top is not bucking any DE trends. Like you're not like, no one's going to look at you funny if you are wearing a tank top in West Hollywood. Like, that's just not going to happen. No one cares because a lot of people wear tank tops, right? And then once I started doing that, like, so once the DE pressure was off and I just started to wear them more because I kind of liked it, that's when I started to build the DI of, oh, I like wearing tank tops. Like, I just like it, regardless of what other people think. I like it. Now, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to wear a tank top when it is too cold to wear a tank top, right? I'm tank top guy. I'm not stupid guy, right? There's a big difference. But, when it is appropriate, right? Probably after I record this video, I got to go get some groceries. Grocery store is a couple of blocks away. And right now, the weather is 72 degrees. I'm wearing a fucking tank top. Because I like them. Because my FI likes tank tops. It just does. And for somebody with Demon DI, even something that insignificant, like, can take a lot of work to get to that place. To actually be able to say, yes, I like this thing that's part of my identity. I don't give a fuck if you think it's cool. I don't care if other people like it or whatever. It does not need to work for them, right? So for my FI, my FI means it's balanced with TE. TE is like, does this work for everybody? And just to go off on a brief little tangent, I don't want to get too much into the functions because I think that it's very easy to type yourselves wrong. If I'm being entirely honest, I don't entirely agree with Dave and Shan's definition of the functions that they don't have, right? So like their TIFE, I'm like, I don't, okay, I sort of see it, but I think there's a little more to work out there. But for me, because I know for sure that I have FI, it is super masculine. My TE is always thinking about, okay, well, does this work for everybody? Not just will everybody like this, but in the sense of like, can everybody do this? Like if I am gonna wear a tank top, I'm sending a signal to the world that everybody should live this way, is what my TE is telling me, right? And so then I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, if I wear a tank top, like if everybody else started, right? It's the like, if everybody else did it, would you do it too? Right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, like maybe not everybody likes tank tops. Like it isn't the sort of thing that everybody wears. Like, let me just stick with a t-shirt because then I'm relatable. Then like they, like they're like, oh yeah, I wear t-shirts too. I understand t-shirt thing. Cool. I'm not going to kick you in the face because you're doing a thing I don't understand. Right? But tank top, okay, well, see, tank top, now we're getting into the territory of like, oh, you wear tank tops? You're tank top guy? Well, I'm collared shirt guy, and we don't like your kind around these parts. We don't like tank top guy. We're collared shirt folk over here, right? And I use that dumb example because now I think it really illustrates the tribe versus self conflict. I remember thinking in terms of what optimal lifestyle is and get a bit concerned about the economics. Then I factored, like optimal lifestyle is very much a DE way of looking at it. DI does not give a fuck at all about optimal lifestyle for everybody else, right? It cares about optimal lifestyle for yourself. And I think that, again, going back to that example, I use that example because it heightens this feeling of tribe versus self, right? And if you get away from my dumb tank top example and into something really important, like, for instance, politics or religion or, economic, like whatever it may be, now you start to see why people really might not invest in their DI if it's a demon, right? One thing that's really, really common in New York City, where I lived for 10 years, is that you'll get people like running on the corporate rat race, right? But there's not a lot of fail safes there because there's always a next rung to climb to, right? And I think that, leaving my opinions about corporate America aside, they are mixed. I think there's good and there's bad. But it's not like a place like, I don't know, where the hell's The Office take place? The Dunder Mifflin. Oh my God. Scranton. Thank you. It's not like corporate America in Scranton, PA, right? Because there's only so far you can get, right? There's only so far you can play the DE validation game when you're in Scranton, Pennsylvania, right? So if you are in that like hardcore DE mindset, you can only go so far, right? Unless your goal is actually to be like, look, I'm the regional manager. I'm the branch manager. I want to eventually be regional manager. Like if you want to keep working your way up and like relocate your family and this and that, whatever, that's a different story. But generally speaking, that takes a lot of work to keep playing the DE game, right? But in New York City, if you're playing the DE game, like you can play that shit forever. I mean, forever, you can play that DE game. And it's really problematic when you start to play that DE game and you're kicking ass, you're doing the thing, and then you're like, I don't think I want to play this game anymore. This isn't fun for me anymore. I don't like this at all, right? Well, then now you got to deal with a lot of tribe hate because you're surrounded by a bunch of other people who are aggressively invested in continuing to play the DE game. And if you're like, look, guys, I think I kind of like want to live in Connecticut and have a family and do that thing. Like, I don't think I give a shit about making $700,000 a year and living in a Fifth Avenue apartment. Like, I think I don't care. Oh fuck. And now you got to play this game of like, well, that's like 25-year-old me was super into that. 30-year-old me is like, nope, don't care. Shit ain't worth it. So you really do sort of see this, when you have Demon DI, again, like I do, there's so many outside sources like yelling at you to not invest in your DI, right? On the flip side, when you do dig your heels in and invest in your DI, whether it's, again, in my case, it's like an aggressively masculine FI, but even if it's a little bit less, even if it's just like your general, maybe like a feminine TI, just sort of, INTP guy, just sort of going whatever, it's, now you have sort of a different problem in which it's like, yeah, that's great. Like, you can live in your own head, but like eventually if you want to move forward in life, you're going to have to connect with other people. You're going to have to get outside of your brain space comfort zone, right? In this case, and like connect with people who don't agree with you. And you can't write people off if they're not immediately on board with your crazy way of life, right? You can't do that because now you're just living inside your head the whole time, right? So I realized that this whole video obviously got way more into the demon side of FI, but you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm practicing my demon FI and I do what I want. I'm really bad at that. But again, I think that for all of DI, just to sort of to wrap this up, I think that it's really, really important to invest in whether you have it as a savior or a demon. And especially in the way the world works right now, we're in a really funny time in which we we long for connection and, we always need the tribe around us. And there still are a lot of systems and institutions that do require, that tribe community and that DE validation and sort of having to play that DE validation game. But this is not Mad Men. Like, the year is not 1960 where it's like you either go to an office every day and do your job every day, and that you just sort of have this built-in DE validation. The world doesn't work like that anymore, right? Now, if you want to live in your own little TI head or FI head and just do what you like and don't care about the world, and you're totally internally self-motivated, and this is what I like, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to live on the computer all day and, or make my art or do whatever, and it's all DI driven. Honestly, you can, for better or for worse, you can kind of get away with that. I don't recommend it because I'm all about growth, but like, you can do it. But I think that on the flip side, it just falls apart really quickly if you have that demon DI, because of how fast the world moves, there's just gonna be too many people who you have to make happy, right? Again, going back to the we don't live this way anymore. This is not the 125, 150 member tribe, and you can just like make this pretty small group of people fairly happy and just go all in on your saviors like that. Now we're talking about like, oh, you got to try to get to like 10,000 Instagram followers, 100,000, a million, whatever it may be. That's a lot of fucking people. And now you have a lot of competing opinions. So you are invariably, I put together words because if I feel like it today, no. Invariably, if you want to have that kind of reach, if you want to have that kind of success, you're going to have to develop the FI brand. You're going to have to develop your FI feelings, values, your TI reasons, whatever your identity may be. You have to work on that in this day and age, because that is the only way that you're going to stand out. And I think that of all of the demons that are worth working, all the different parts that are worth working on, obviously you can go too far in any direction. But I think that as far as like a thing to always come back to, coming back to the DI, I think that's incredibly unlikely that that's going to lead you astray when you are not, like, when you feel like you're swimming, when you feel like you're out there. Coming back to that DI of like, let me start at the beginning. And again, just one last thing, when Shape talks about function flow, they start with the DI. They start with FI and TI. And so, if you're feeling lost, feeling frazzled, whatever, going back to that, and then saying, okay, we got this. Where can I build from there? Now you're in really good shape. Now you're not getting stuck in a savior loop or a demon loop, but you're starting from a place that's actually sustainable, that is within you, because at the end of the day, you are the one doing your own work. All right, that's all I got for today. Thank you for hanging out with me here on YouTube for the very first time. And I'm super excited to just sort of like lay out all these parts, give some fun examples, and just try to build this sort of mini library here on the Objectively Typed YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Smash that like button with your masculine sensory if you have it. If you want a feminine sensory, smash the like button, whatever feminine sensory looks like. Whatever that version of smashing the like button is, definitely do that too. But I will catch you guys later, and thanks for hanging out. Bye.